Hello, Stafford Consulting. Welcome to the 24-hour preliminary round of CoMIS 2023. My name is Kenny, and for today's presentation, you will have 25 minutes in total, 15 minutes of protected presentation time, and 10 minutes of Q&A. During the protected presentation time, judges are not permitted to interject and ask questions. If you finish your presentation before 15-minute ends, you will still only have 10 minutes for the Q&A. There will be hard cutoff at 15 minutes, and we will be giving you a time warning when 3 minutes, 1 minute, and 30 seconds are left via paper. And your time starts now.
Prospective customer needs something. They usually need it yesterday. This is what your sales team has told us, that we need to streamline the pricing and design process for lifelong. I'm Nolan, and I'm here with my colleagues Nicole and Mo, and we are Stafford Consulting. And today we would like to address how Lifeflow designs and prices its options. Firstly, I'd like to take you through briefly what customers prioritize when seeking a quote from your company. Firstly, there are often budget constraints. Nearly 60% of firms say that budgetary constraints are a key issue when seeking out a quote. Secondly, timeliness is a key factor. As I just enumerated, many customers want a quote immediately. Thirdly, there's variety. Some customers want to see beautiful designs, multiple shapes, and this is an important part of any quotation process. And finally, some require continual engagement on years-long capital-intensive projects. The key takeaway from this is that your firm needs to have a tailored process to meet these different needs.
So let's take a look at where your company is today. We see that the challenges is that there's a disconnect between the process and what the consumers would like. So the key objective for today is to be able to streamline that work process and be able to design, price, and build out those proposals. We see that the goals for today is to create that integrated system to allow for adaptability and change when you're creating those proposals, and also be able to organize the process of building that throughout your different departments. And then the impact of this will be able to avoid those errors and associated costs while saving time and allowing time for a project. And then the ROI for this there will be 102.9% over the 3 years, and we will also be able to decrease clerical errors of 10K per year.
Thank you, Nicole. So we broke this down into 2 to better meet each statement. In our first pillar, design, we focus on revamping the design system, integrating CRM with the design process. In our second pillar, pricing, we focus on automating the CRM system and integrating it with your shared services to deliver an accurate proposal. Move on, please. Firstly, we'll touch on design. And I'd just like to briefly set the context. Your firm is in a market with rapid growth. Your product is inimitable and your competitors are not able to keep up. You're also about to enter into a major recapitalization, and you need to show to shareholders that you're in a position to leverage this growth with a streamlined proposal process. Secondly, there's increasing complexity of your products. 30% of your products now require custom designs, up from 10% just 3 years ago. What this shows is that customers have a stronger demand for custom branding, shapes, and colors, and your firm needs to be able to meet this in the proposal process. Finally, we've seen delays in downtime. Getting a custom proposal and quote can take nearly 2 weeks, and for time-sensitive customers, this is unacceptable. The inefficiencies in the process can also lead to additional costs and clerical errors, as well as lost business. I'd like to briefly point out the current design process and some pain points. As we can see here, a customer first approaches the sales manager, who asks some questions and provides some details. This is transmitted through a designated Slack channel to the design team, who creates a design in AutoCAD, exports it to Adobe, and then sends it back to sales for review. There's some notable pain points to this process. Firstly, the data is manually entered into Slack, which is not designed for this intended use. It also requires the design team to then take it out of Slack and put it into the design software. The design software requires manual counting of tiles, which increases the time required to generate designs and proposals. We'd like to point out how we intend to get this done. Firstly, we recommend introducing the software builder trend to integrate the sales and design process. This would allow sales to enter data into the CRM, which would then link to the design process to be able to quickly and automatically share data. Secondly, we recommend introducing the software Clear Estimate to simplify the design process and integrate it with AutoCAD. Through this, it would automatically calculate the tile cuts and cut out that wasteful manual counting. Finally, or thirdly, we recommend establishing gatekeepers to ensure the proper flow. This would involve having the sales manager control all files going to Buildertrend and have the design manager approving clear estimate files before they return to sales. And finally, we recommend building organizational consensus by moving from awareness to habit.
So build a trend. What is build a trend? Build a trend is essentially a cloud-based software. It's for construction companies and effectively simplifies your project design and pricing. Again, the impact ROI 102.9% over 3 years and stabilized growth of 25%. The biggest thing here is that we understand your company is going through this growth period and you need a streamlined system all throughout for the future. Again, this is the proposed model of what build a trend looks like. And the key takeaway here is one, this is for organization. So you have all your products laid out. It's not like Slack where you have to pick certain channels and the information is not there. So there's a clear outlay of how the information is organized. And there's the ability for you to integrate your existing softwares already. So your AutoCADs, your Excels, your Adobe Illustrator, which we will actually substitute for Clear Estimate. And this also has a strong learning program. And again, this actually has the ability to auto popular proposals, and it's been done. And this has been done for 5+ years of industry research. So why build a trend to streamline this work process? Again, the software integration is huge. The AutoCAD integration is already there. And then Clear Estimate, which actually has design and AI already integrated into it for proposals, which you're looking for. And there's industry success as well. And time-saving efficiencies from research continuously done. So this is a brief overview of what this would look like. So sales team gets information from the client, puts it into the system, puts it into build a trend, and they generate a unique ID for this project. And this is where they pick what the project's customizability will look like. Is it a highly customizable project, or is it something that we can automate and the cutting software can already do this? So that's something that has to be adjusted right away, and that's what the sales team does. And then it again goes into build a trend, and that's where we have our integrated AutoCAD softwares if required. Otherwise, it can go straight to Clear Estimate. And this has the ability to work with all formats, and sales teams can see the whole process all throughout and update the clients throughout this process. So now when the design team gets it, they can go straight ahead either to Clear Estimate if it's a simple design, or they can go into AutoCAD like they've been previously doing. But what this does is this eliminates the aspect of converting from AutoCAD to Adobe and then changing it back to AutoCAD. So that thing's not there anymore. You don't have to go to a PDF and convert it back into AutoCAD. There's too much intricate detail. This way, the Clear Estimate file actually goes back into AutoCAD if there's any adjustments that need to be made, and then you can clear it. And why we're really doing this is the main fact is that everything here is moving parts, right? Customers one day might change how a proposal may look. There might be minor detail changes, and this allows you to have moving parts all throughout. And so design input may change, or sales team might adjust the design, and everything's throughout and everything's cloud-based, and anyone has access to it all around the world. So this is just a model of what it will look like. So this is for Holden, for example. Holden comes in, Holden has all his products on the side, and there's his admin tasks, and the design team would have access to these. So AutoCAD's there, they have conversion tools. These are just some of the tools that are already on there, and as well as for pricing as well, which we'll later get into.
Perfect. Now we'd like to move to our second point, pricing. Having addressed the design side, we'd like to focus on how we can generate accurate and timely quotes for your company. Move to the next slide, please. Nicole.
So why does LifeFloor need to streamline the pricing process right now? So we see that this will be able to provide an intuitive interface for customers. It will allow to create those fast turnover rates for quotes, which customers are deeply wanting. And then it will also allow you to create the integration with a commonly used software that customers and your company is already familiar with. And then lastly, you will also be able to acquire more customers by providing those fast and accurate prices, and you're able to take on more projects. So what's preventing LifeFloor right now from taking on those streamlining pricing process? So we indicated 3 main pain points. We see that there's a non-integrated system. So again, you are counting there's multiple platforms that don't work together, and this is causing for you and your different departments to do the same job over and over again. That means that there's manual counting of tiles multiple times, and this is wasting valuable time and resources that you could be spent somewhere else. And then again, the customer prioritization is not there, because right now there are certain customers prioritize time, some require budget, and you need to be able to show that through your quotes and how fast you're able to get that to them.
So again, streamlined pricing. This is where Clear Estimate really comes in, and why we even actually integrated this. This is really important. What this allows you to do is that Clear Estimate now can use the automated pricing tool that it has for only certain proposals where tiles may not be as difficult to calculate. So it can actually pick out certain portions, be like, okay, this surface area would cost this much. Then the more detailed areas can be done customizably by the design team or by the shared services team. And the central feature that I really want to highlight here is that there's already available costing data on this platform for a lot of parts that already exist, and a lot of tile manufacturers. That's why we actually picked Clear Estimate, and it's growing. And the big thing is they're okay with you taking the data from NetSuite that you already have about your product, about the costing of your tiles, and be able to integrate into Clear Estimate. And again, this is all integrated within Buildertrend. So you go into Buildertrend, you click on Clear Estimate, and then boom, the Clear Estimate window pops up, and you have all your information there as well. And as soon as you save it, it's all integrated within Buildertrend. That's the huge aspect. So everything works through Buildertrend, but you're able to go into Clear Estimate and change these codes on the go. So again, just an overview of what this will look like. So from earlier, we got to Clear Estimate, and then this is where your deliverable was of actually the problem was, sorry, of having to count the tiles, right? And this is what Clear Estimate essentially gets rid of, because now you don't have to count tiles for this certain project, and you're able to have those Excel spreadsheets for certain suppliers that may need it, or certain shared services people, or you can have a PDF, whatever you need to generate. But the big thing is Clear Estimate will give you those codes on the go and a way faster way of integrating into codes instead of hard coding in Excel like you've been continuously doing. And then again, so shared services gets it, and this is where it breaks down. So certain proposals are hard proposals, and certain proposals are soft proposals. When it comes to the hard proposals, that's where the installers are really involved, right? That's where you need to visit them and see how the cuts will look like, and what the templates will look like, because there'll be more customizable templates, right? But what the beautiful this technology offers is now you actually have a standardizing costing system, and you have AI that can generate it from your existing pricing model that exists within NetSuite. And again, the big thing is installer input can be easily incorporated back into the system as well. So if there's any changes that the installer makes, you don't have to start this all over again. They can just go in to the installer and input it, and you're good to go. Again, we do assume that the pre-cut and the cut-on side is considered in this model. So how do we really integrate this within LifeFloor? One, again, breaking it down to design maturity. We really want to assess your IT maturity as soon as we get into it, and then assess the current capabilities within the organization, if there's any additional training required, and for pricing, really training for the automation. So really a data analytics focus there to see that, can we really drive this price across, and assessing it throughout, and integrate certain installers, such as its edge installers. And quickly, given the time constraint that we have today, first, we want to reach out to Buildertrend and really get that licensing agreement secured. And then making sure that then now we go into integrating the current softwares that we have with AutoCAD and keeping it there, and then integration of Excel and NetSuite data into Buildertrend, which is the beautiful thing because other companies have done it. So there's existing models, and then training it. Buildertrend has a training academy, and we want to make sure we utilize that for overall awareness. But we do want to keep in mind that there's an emphasis on transition. Your people cannot just go on to these softwares, right? We want to make sure we take that time and really transition them into it. And then again, emphasis on the early positive wins that you have throughout this integration, and then building it from awareness to habit, which you can get into quickly.
So now that we have this amazing system, how is your staff going to be able to take this on? So we're going to go from awareness to habit. So first, we're going to build that awareness. We're going to Buildertrend already has a learning academy, and your employees are going to be taking on those training programs and videos for the first 6 months. We're going to build that acceptance. We're going to show the benefits, show them how does this affect their work productivity, and how does it positively affect that. And then we're going to build those habits by slowly transitioning between systems. We're going to start from the top. The department managers are going to first learn and build those habits for the first 2 months. And then the 2 performing employees under them are going to learn, and so on and so forth. And ultimately, how is this going to streamline? Again, this is going to fix the issue of counting, and it's going to automate that counting. You're going to be able to easily adapt and change and get those quotes out fast for customers. And ultimately, it's all about the customers and be able to get them on, right? And then we're going to have the better department communication and ultimately build those proposals, which is what you're asking us.
So again, this is the overall breakdown, project already created, going to the design team, share services, and then you have the installers or the database, depending on if it's what kind of proposal it is. And sorry, just quick timeline given the time constraint. So first, we're going to get that subscription secured, integration of the current data, and roll it out, and then a clear understanding across the organization. And really, that's when the automation starts.
Thank you. So we understand that revenue is a prime consideration here as you enter major recapitalization. We found that with a historical growth rate of 35 to 40%, we estimated a conservative 25% revenue growth, which leads us to nearly 16 million in the first year. If we move on to cost, please. We found here that the new software cost would be between $65,000 and $11,000 a year, and that the main cost driver would be the increase in training as well as other costs associated with that. Once again, these would decrease over time with the current costs. Moving on to our cash flow analysis, here we can see that over time there is strong positive cash flow, which would be excellent entering that recapitalization, with a 3-year NPV of just over 10 million and a return on investment of nearly 130%.
Your protected presentation time has ended. Judges, you have 10 minutes to ask questions starting now.
So I might have missed this. Did I hear the integration into Clear Estimate will only be partially automated, that there will still be some manual effort?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I can walk you through that for sure. That's a wonderful question.
Do you know what percentage of it will actually go automatically and how much manual effort I still have to do?
Sure, you can do the numbers and I'll go into the details.
Yeah, absolutely. So based on current lead time, we estimate that initially it would require the same effort from the sales force to enter the data into Builder Trend. But then coming back, a lot of this would be automated through the design process. I believe we have an appendix where we could show what these shareholders look like, and it would provide a lot more time.
I'm merely asking, you told me that I'm gonna have to still do some manual and I'm gonna do a lot of.
No, it's what, yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, the thing is, what we understood was that certain tiles, the way they were cut, you just cannot get AI to be formulated because wastage comes into play, right?
All right.
Because sometimes it takes out a half a tile there. And that's why I think that's the only reason. So certain portions of so for example, let's say there's a pool at a school, there's a logo in the middle, there's a gopher in the middle. Here, there's blank spaces that can be automated, right? But then the main design, that part, you might have to go in and figure out, okay, how many tiles are really going into it, right? But the overall consistency can be can be automated. And then within time, it can actually collect data. For example, if you have logos throughout a school county or something, and they're very similar dimensions, it can count, okay, this is how much it cost last time when we did this. And now when we have another design go into it, it can systematically learn.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
clarification.
Yeah.
So to add on to this, talked about in the beginning that 30% of the jobs are custom. So that means that 70% are basic. To answer Mike's question, 70% can go through the very basic stuff, but of those 30%, did you do any research on the custom items? What percent of the total makeup of the install are those? Because that's to your point where you want to do the M, you do the M, just so you know.
It's easier.
You could kind of do a standard customization of that, right? So that would be an important thing to understand is of the 30% that are custom, how much is custom? Is it 50% that would have to be redone? And that's a installer piece essentially. So you can soft price, but not, is that, am I getting?
No, exactly. That's perfect. No, sorry. That's exactly what I was trying to get into was that when actually we were looking at when hotels are integrated, right? For example, what I saw from the research was sometimes it's literally just the same designs in certain hotel chains throughout, right? So what Clear Estimate actually did in a model in Asia was that when they were doing renovations in Thailand, for instance, for hotels, is that they had the exact same logos throughout, and they have to do it once, right?
Yeah.
So they get the surface area, and then they just keep on repeating it.
Who uses this kind of software today?
So Clear Estimate, I mean, a lot of contractors throughout America, especially use it, just for bidding processes, right?
What kind of projects do they work on?
Oh, it could be anything from specialty, so it could be from housing to more landscape projects to even big like commercial builders. So it's all throughout the industry. It's a very industry-proof project. It's not software. Yes, for sure.
In the first part of your recommendation, you talked through some process enhancements using Builder Trend, I believe.
For sure.
But as a part of that recommendation, you talked about gatekeepers within the process.
Love to go.
Yeah, I want to talk through how are gatekeepers how is it going to help improve throughput of our process versus cause a bottleneck?
No, that's a wonderful question. Yeah, no, the main thing is it's almost like the gatekeeper essentially is like an admin in this case, like they create the project, right? And when customers are changing things, like generally usually up to the sales team, right? They're like, hey, I told you to do this project, but I want a change here, right? So essentially what's happening here is that Holden has overall control of this project, right? He's the sales team, he's the one that brought the project in, and then he's able to make changes throughout. So that's essentially what kind of like it is gatekeeper. Sorry, I believe we misconstructed that, but it essentially just means that they're able to pass it on. So right now, for instance, in this case, Holden actually has a hold of the project. So he's awaiting the design approval here in this case from the client. So the designer already made this project, but it went back to him, right? And now he's just sending it back to the client, like, hey, do you think this design looks what you were looking for, or are there any changes that need to be done? And then he can go back to the design team, right? So right now it's an advanced stage, and then it can be moved back to the design team, and the design team would get a notification on Outlook, be like, hey, this product has been moved back from you, and these are the changes that need to be done, and the changes will be listed here in notes.
Hey, just to add on to that briefly, we understand that your business requires a high degree of managerial discretion, as you mentioned, relationships in terms of projects, customers. And so we wanted to make sure that any design really incorporated that. That's the essence of the gatekeeper, is to provide a managerial overview, make sure that the software is not missing things on occasion.
I might have missed this, so please educate me. So on my design thing, I put that design, how much time am I taking out of the process by putting in builder trend? And what does that translate into dollars?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we could talk about cost savings briefly, would you like to get a report form at the end? We go just one further, perfect. So we built out entire financial estimates based on how we see this project going. The main effect is on revenue. However, we believe that this could reduce lead time from 5 to 7 to nearly 10 business days down to 1 or 2. The main bottlenecks there being the installer process on the pricing end, or with managerial oversight on the design end. Based on that, we see the cost savings of this being quite high. However, our main focus was on that revenue piece. We want to make sure that your firm is leveraged to keep growing that revenue over the future and not stagnate.
But my pain is in the time it takes to get to a quote and ready for implementation. So I want to know specifically that time. You're telling me it's going to go from a certain amount to 1 or 2 days now. That savings, that dollar amount, I should be able to put to the bottom line or can reinvest. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, that's a great point. We essentially focused on preserving revenue. However, there would be cost savings involved there. However, we did not quantify the scale of those cost savings on the lead time.
Did you do work instead of on the lead time on how much more throughput they could do, or we could do, given the same amount of time through this? Yeah.
Yeah, no, when we really, I can just briefly explain it since you don't have time. No, the biggest thing was essentially if we weren't able to get the lead time down and be able to customize that, the thing was now we're able to take on more clients, right? One of the issues in the case addressed was that there's this growth happening 30% year over, which is amazing. And now how do you really take that and add that throughput time, right? So essentially the thing that we really want to get was that when we are automating this process and cutting the time down, when new clients are coming in, it depends on the clients that are coming in. We can't quantify that instead because it'd be making too many assumptions. That's not how we build our model. But the thing is, yes, we understand when it comes to throughput time, you would have way more customers now, and you would be able to even grow their organization even further.
I accept your comments. I'm still not sure how much time I've saved in the process. But let me jump ahead. Let me jump to a different question. What risks do I have with the proposal?
That's an excellent question.
I thank you. I appreciate it.
Our primary concern, and maybe we'll touch on this for in depth, but our primary concern is adoption. We know that getting sales professionals, getting design professionals on new software takes time. And so that was the primary risk that we identified. It's actually making sure that once you introduce these systems, people use them. Our main focus on that is building a strategy where we move from awareness to acceptance. And so just to reiterate what we were focusing on there, On the awareness level, that's training, that's videos, but it doesn't create a sense of intimacy, it doesn't create a sense of habit, which we need to really get that adoption across. And so what we focused on there is focusing on our high performers, starting with them. We know that your sales team includes 6 people, as well as other teams including between 1.5 and 6 people as well. And so the main focus that we had was actually personnel risk, not technology risk. And so what we did there is make sure that we had a strategy where through shadowing and through other professional development, we'd be able to make sure that we see adoption and actually are able to implement these wonderful systems that is
Yeah, so just to add on that, we want to make sure that your employees feel comfortable going into this new system. We understand it might be a little bit of a culture shock. So that's why we're not just switching immediately from one system to the next, and we're going to be slowly integrating that throughout your company so that it works well and that the employees are able to show that positive proximity for your customers.
Yeah, and again, the biggest thing that why I actually went with Build Trend was because they're learning academy
And
software.
your time is up. Thank you for your presentation. Judges will give their feedback in this room at 10:30 a.m. Please return here at 10:30 if you'd like to receive your feedback on your presentations.
Thank you.
At this point, you may exit the room with your liaison, and remember, you are not permitted to watch any other preliminary round. Thank you.
Maybe not.